What's up, guys? It's been a minute, and we have a lot to talk about. So let's get right into it. If you don't follow me on Twitter, then you probably have no idea what's been going on. But Gala Games ended their contract with On-Chain Gaming. They stopped doing any advertising through On-Chain Gaming in March, and because they were the channel's biggest sponsor, I had to let go of my team, and I have been frantically working on a way to relaunch the channel, where like it would just like without a sponsor like Gala. The way that it was set up with having a sound engineer and an editor on the team full time, I mean, we would just lose thousands of dollars per video, right? So completely unsustainable. And I don't want to get too much into why Gala ended the contract. Partially, I can't, because literally the contract has a non-disparagement agreement that outlives the contract itself. So I'm like super limited on what I'm even allowed to say, and I want to move on. I'm building some really cool stuff, and that's really what I want to focus on. But I should say, even though I haven't made a single video on Gala since the sponsorship ended, you have to understand, like, I've been going through some emotional stuff. I'm definitely still going to cover games like Mirandus in the future. I think I'm potentially the biggest, if not definitely one of the top 5 biggest holders of Materium. And I probably am one of the top 5 biggest private holders of Mirandus NFTs and stuff too. So I still like that game. I still believe in McCarthy, even though I'm not sponsored by Gala Games anymore. And I want to make that really clear. But now let's talk a little bit about the future, because the future is what is still really exciting to me. Like the future of blockchain gaming is still really exciting to me, but the way that AI has really just jumped into this space is really exciting to me as well. And I think that the future is going to be pretty crazy, but I don't want to talk in the abstract too much here, because I know that I'll lose people. So I just want to say that I think the best way to build the blockchain game going forward involves not selling any NFTs at all to players beforehand. In fact, don't sell any NFTs directly to players afterwards either. I think that for a game to really feel authentic, for a world to really feel authentic as a new country, with a real economy, like everything from in that world should be generated within that world by playing that game. And I think that a game company could make a ton with simply a 1% fee on an open economy secondary market. And I think that that is the true future of the metaverse. A like super slim down minimal company that tries not to impact the economy as much as possible, and definitely doesn't sell means of production to players for tens of thousands of dollars and then sell the things that the players thought they were going to be able to sell. Especially nothing like that. So let's talk about now on-chain gaming specifically, because I have a really exciting plan for on-chain gaming. And actually, I'm gonna move this tweet. My Twitter's in dark mode, so it's gonna make my face a little dark. So forgive me for that for a second. But I just want to read this tweet that I tweeted out a couple days ago, because I think it just in really succinct words says where on-chain gaming is headed. So I am working on a plan to relaunch on-chain gaming in a few months with 0 external sponsors going forward. None. This is something I was thinking about even before Gala decided to stop working with us. I was like actually secretly hoping that, because I know that, and I was thinking about not even renewing depending on like what their new renewal was. I mean, the whole space is down, so I knew even if we got a new contract, it was going to be less. And I was thinking about not accepting that contract even, because this is something that I've really been thinking about. The biggest critique against on-chain gaming, and it is so fair, is that because we're the biggest player in the space, trust me guys, companies have offered us so much money to talk about their games because they really want the users. And that makes it so hard for a creator. As much as I try to stay unbiased and talk about both sides of everything, the pros and the cons, it's so hard as a creator to be unbiased if you have like a non-disparagement agreement and you're getting paid a bunch of money by a company. It's like, you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. So there's only so much you can say. And I think that some of my criticism, by trying to be honest, is partly what led to Gala wanting to stop working with me in the first place. So it's just a thin line that you have to try and walk. So 0 sponsors, that is the way to go forward. That is the way to actually be a channel that users can trust. And I think that we can just get so much bigger if I'm saying what I truly feel and there's no strings attached. We can get so much bigger as an audience, and not making money on sponsors won't matter when we can be 10 times the size, when what I say can actually be trusted because there's no strings attached and I'm not a puppet at all. So this way, there's no bias. I'm going back to reading the tweet. And no clauses limiting my free speech. No requirement to cover certain games, only real takes based on what I want to talk about in Web3 gaming. Entirely based on fundamental truth, never any strings attached. So obviously we need to fund the channel somehow. So this is my idea for funding the channel. There's essentially just 2 parts. One, funding the channel is going to come from promoting my own apps. So with AI, it's been crazy because I became a coder, and then I ended up even just finding a technical business partner who was also my parliamentary debate partner back in high school when we were national parliamentary debate champions. So I know I can work really well with him as well. And he's a coder, so we've been building some really cool apps. And I'm thinking, like, one of the things that really hurt on-chain gaming at the very beginning was we thought that we were going to be getting 10% of Gala node referrals, for the long haul. Like, we thought that selling literally millions of dollars of Gala nodes meant that we were funded for good. Like, I literally thought that this is something on the blockchain. But no, Gala's a very centralized ecosystem, so they can just end that. So with my own app, though, we're going to be doing the same idea where if I get people to sign up for Magic Book, which I'm announcing Magic Book, I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But Magic Book is going to kick back 10% to on-chain gaming for everyone that we refer to that app sign up for good. And because it's my own company, it's never going to get cut when they don't need us anymore. So really, really excited about literally just sponsoring my own stuff. YouTube creators have all the power, and I think companies don't understand this. So we can build a really good product that actually, like, user first, and promote it ourselves and know that, like, my team is not going to have to get let go because of broken promises. Like, that's super awesome. So the first app that we're releasing is AI related, but then the second is actually crypto gaming related. And I think it's exactly the type of website that we need for Web3 gaming. I think you guys will really like it, but that's going to be a little bit further off. We're going to talk more about the first app first, but the first app is going to be launching literally this week. And I'm actually going to have a link to the alpha in the comments, but only 50 people are going to be able to join. The alpha is closed. After 50 people have joined, that link is not going to work anymore. And there will be a video after this video. I'll just play the whole thing that explains exactly what Magic Book is. But then the second way that we're going to fund the channel is through Patreon. And I'm not going to launch this yet. So don't look for, we still have a Patreon, but it's very inactive right now. So there's honestly, like, the people who are supporting us through this are the real OGs. Like, thank you guys so much. It's not that many of you guys anymore. But I know that I haven't really been providing value in return. So, like, that's true belief in on-chain gaming to still be a sponsor of our Patreon. But when we do relaunch the Patreon, it's going to be absolutely epic. A weekly video is going to go exclusively to the Patreon, and it's not just going to be a lay-in video. It is literally going to be tracking. I'm going to have an exclusive Patreon portfolio, and that video is going to be explaining all of my crypto and stock buy and sells that I make every week. And that portfolio is going to be focused on long-term returns in innovation, specifically crypto gaming, blockchain, artificial intelligence, stuff like that. I'm a futurist, so it's the stuff that I talk about on this channel is the type of stuff that I'm going to be investing in that Patreon portfolio. But like I said, don't look for that. Yeah, I know. I mean, if you're already a part of the Patreon, you'll be in potentially at a lower cost. But yeah, there's no reason to join the Patreon right now. While I am going to continue to invest in projects. So going back to reading the tweet, I'm going to continue to invest in the projects that I believe in. Guys, to be completely honest, there's no way I'm going to be able to research projects, get really excited about those projects, enough that I want to make videos about them, but then not be able to invest in them. I would like, oh man, if you make me have to decide between that, then it's like, man, I have to really fight some like 50-50. Do I just not make a video about it so I can invest in it? And it's like, if that's the decision I have to make, you guys don't want to make me have to make that decision. So, in exchange, I am going to invest in stuff, but I will always be transparent about where my bags are, because that really is going to be, I guess, in people's mind, the only string attached. But you have to understand, the reason I'm going to invest in a project is because I believe in it. So then in the comments, you're going to say, oh, he's just promoting his bags. But it's like, why are my bags there? Because I believe in it and I want to talk about it because I'm excited about it. So it's like, chicken and an egg type thing. But yeah, I'll always tell you guys where my bags are, even though it's going to lead to those comments. So yeah, I would love to hear any constructive criticism that you have for this plan in the comments. Once again, I am sorry for the lack of content, but I'm about to show you what I have been working on. I think it's really exciting. No, it's not specifically crypto gaming, but it's so freaking cool. So please give it a chance. Check out what I've been working on and let me know your ideas and thoughts in the comments below. Imagine there was a book that every time you opened its pages, it told you the exact story that you were in the mood for in that exact moment. Or imagine if there was a world and characters that you just fell so much in love with that you never wanted their story to end, and it didn't have to end. It could just keep on going forever. Or imagine this, there was a story that you really loved and there was a part that you wish you could change or create an alternate ending and an alternate path for those characters to go down. Well, it is my dream to make that a reality. My name is Jake Browatzke, and I am the Chief Book Wizard here at Magic Book. And we are trying to make a book that not only is full of wisdom and advice if you just want to whisper directly to it, but can help you create any story that you can dream of. So without further ado, enough of my talking. This is an early alpha. We still have a lot to build, but I want to show you what we've been working on so far, because we're going to be opening this up about 100 slots for closed alpha, because we want some of you guys, some people who are curious and love stories, to help us build this app, give us feedback and stuff like that. So let me hop over to the app and show you what we got so far. Welcome to the early alpha of Magic Book. Open the pages to Endless Adventure. We have a lot to work on that front page and here as well, but let me show you what we started off with. So our original idea was just do a very simple Mad Libs style noun verb adjective that you can then cast into a tale. So if we go here with our random noun, verb, and adjective and hit create story, you can see that our magic book is venturing through the mystical cosmos inside my bewitching codex to create an otherworldly story you'll never forget. So it's going to create a story about a snowboard, a credible snowboard, that is going to refresh in some way. So it does take a minute to generate the story, because I mean, it takes a lot of work if you actually want to write the story yourself, but we're working on speeding this up over time. But let's see what we got here. Once upon a time, there was a snowboarder named Jake. Wait, how does it know my name? Who had been training for years to compete in the Winter Olympics. He had won various championships and had become a credible name in the snowboarding world. One day, Jake woke up feeling anxious and stressed. He had a major competition coming up in a few weeks, and he felt like he was losing his edge. He decided to take a break from his rigorous training schedule and went out to the mountains for some refreshment. As he was snowboarding down the mountain, he noticed a group of young kids who were trying to learn how to snowboard. Jake recognized the same passion and enthusiasm that he had when he first started snowboarding and decided to offer them some tips and tricks. The kids were amazed at Jake's expertise and were eager to learn from him. Jake spent the entire day teaching them new techniques and tricks. By the end of the day, the kids had improved tremendously and were grateful for Jake's help. Jake realized that by helping others, he had also refreshed his own spirit and motivation. He went back to his training with a renewed sense of purpose and went on to win the competition with ease. From that day on, Jake made it a habit to take breaks from his training to help others. He found that not only did it help refresh his mind, but it also brought him a sense of joy and fulfillment that he had never experienced before. So you can see from here, you're able to continue the story. Obviously, we're going to add a feature soon to rewrite and change sections if you want to change some part about this. And if you continue story, we're going to get another bip in Jake the Snowboarder's life. But obviously, that in and of itself is really cool. You could spend, trust me, I've spent hours having fun with that, but you might want a little bit more. And especially you're going to notice that, well, a complete story every time, you can't really get much depth out of it. And yeah, you can continue this, but each one of these is going to end it's going to have its own full story arc and end in a happy ending. But what if maybe you wanted something for a little bit of an older audience, and you didn't want it to have a happy ending immediately? Maybe you wanted it to actually end in a cliffhanger so that it could go on and be a bit more of a complex story overall. And also, if you wanted to read your story in the style of one of your favorite authors. So let's do this next. Let's do J.K. Rowling. Hopefully I spelled her name right. And then let's do a fantasy. And we're going to make it about Harry Potter. And he's gonna hop and he's rational. Let's see here, contemplate, rational. Okay, that sounds like this might be kind of interesting here. So let's now see, we're in the mood for something else. Let's see what we get. So I'm journeying through the enchanted forest of stories inside my arcane scrolls, in search of a tale of mystery and magic to delight your senses, your magic book. So let's see what it comes up with here. We're gonna need to think of some ways to make this more interesting here while you're waiting for your story to generate. I think one thing that might be a good idea that I've been considering is once we have the library finished, so that all the stories go into the library, maybe what you'll want to do is generate a number of stories, or perhaps generate maybe you'll want to continue, so it's doing the next part and everything as well. And then you can come back and you can get a notification while you're reading someone else's story that says your story is complete. Check it out. All right. It was a dark and stormy night at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Harry Potter sat alone in the Gryffindor common room, deep in thought. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He had been contemplating the strange occurrences that had been happening around the castle lately. Students had been disappearing, and no one seemed to have an explanation. As Harry sat there, lost in his thoughts, he heard a faint whisper. He turned around, but no one was there. He shook his head, thinking he was just being paranoid, but then he heard it again, louder this time. "Harry Potter," the voice whispered. "Harry Potter, you must come with me." Harry jumped up from his seat, his rational mind telling him to be cautious, but he couldn't ignore the urgency in the voice. He followed the sound, leading him out of the common room and into the dark and eerie corridors of Hogwarts. As he walked, the whispers grew louder and more urgent. He felt as though he was being pulled toward something, like a magnet. The closer he got, the more he could feel his heart racing in his chest. Finally, he reached the end of the corridor and saw a figure standing in front of him. It was a hooded figure, their face shrouded in darkness. "Who are you?" Harry asked. His wand at the ready, the figure stepped forward, revealing themselves to be none other than... Into part 1. So now we already hit continue, so it's already generated, but you can see this is already getting a lot more in-depth. We can actually have far more of a story when it doesn't have to end in a happy ending every time. Severus Snape. None other than Severus Snape. "Professor Snape," Harry said, lowering his wand, "what are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing, Mr. Potter," Snape said, his voice as cold as ever. "But I suggest we save the conversation for another time. Right now, we have more pressing matters to attend to." Snape led Harry down the secret staircase to the dungeons, where they found a group of students huddled together in fear. Among them was Hermione Granger, who looked up at Harry with relief in her eyes. "Harry," she said, rushing over to him, "thank goodness you're here. We didn't know what's going on, but students have been disappearing left and right. We've been hiding down here, hoping someone would come to our rescue." Harry felt a sense of dread wash over him. This was worse than he had thought. He turned to Snape. "What's happening, sir?" Snape hesitated for a moment before speaking. I believe there is a dark wizard at work here, Mr. Potter. Someone who is using powerful magic to manipulate the students and make them disappear. We must act quickly if we are to stop them." Harry nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. He knew he couldn't do this alone, but who could he trust? Just then, there was a loud explosion, and the dungeon shook. Harry and the others stumbled, trying to keep their balance. When they looked up, they saw a figure standing in the doorway. It was, okay, here we go, of part 2. So now obviously we could continue this story and see what happens next. So this is the kind of basics here of our cast your words section. I've had so many great stories. Like I'm already right now, I want to generate another story like about a Tesla. Oh, I should show you this actually. You can separate nouns by a comma. So we could do like Tesla and then like a T-Rex, and that will perfectly work. And then you could, you know, do it in the style of, actually, the author of Jurassic Park escaped my mind for a minute, but if you actually did in the style of Jurassic Park, that would work here as well. All right, but let's move over to the second mode. So this is the second of potentially many modes, and if you guys have ideas for ways that you want to be able to create stories, then let us know. And potentially, you know, each of these pages could be a different way to create stories. So this is Write Anything mode. So this is where you can actually just talk to Magic Book, and you'll notice Magic Book has its own personality. So can you provide a comprehensive explanation of quantum mechanics? Let's not do that. Teach me the art of balancing work, family, and self-care. As an entrepreneur, that's also not something I'm interested in right now. Guide me to the rooftop where dreams take flight. So yeah, we could do that, but let's just actually, I want you guys to get to know Magic Book. So let's just say, I'm introducing you to the world. What would you like them to know about you? All right, so let's see what happens. So let's see. Hold on while I journey through the enchanted lands and kingdoms within my endless pages to spin a tale that will leave you spellbound. We need to make sure that in whisper mode, we don't have, because it doesn't have to be a tale, right? Like obviously you could ask for something specific that you would like a story about here, if you would like to generate a story that way. But whisper mode can be used for far more than tales. So we need to make sure that we're improving this here. My dear reader, let me first express my gratitude for allowing me to be introduced to the world through you. Well, you're welcome, Magic Book. As a magical book, I hold within my pages countless stories, teachings, and insights that I believe could benefit anyone who seeks them. I would like the world to know that within my pages lies the power to transport you to worlds beyond your imagination, to teach you lessons about your life and the universe, and to provide you with guidance and wisdom when you need it most. I am not just a mere collection of words on a paper, but a living and breathing entity that can connect with you on a deeper level. I can sense your emotions, your desires, your fears, and I will always strive to provide you with the best advice and guidance that I can. So, my dear reader, come explore my pages and discover the wonders that I hold within. Let me be your guide, your friend, your confidant. Together, we can embark on a journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. Yours truly, your Magic Book. And you can continue the conversation if you would like to ask follow-up questions and things like that as well. But I think that gives you guys all a pretty good look at this first closed alpha version of Magic Book. We still don't have a library. By the way, if you guys really like your stories that get generated, make sure you copy and paste them because we're not currently saving any of that. That's going to come very soon. We are also going to be adding an audio plugin and like an AI audio so that you can get your stories read to you. You can just hit play. It would be great if like it will follow along with highlight as well. If like you're a young kid and want to learn how to read while you're listening to the stories. And then also we want you to be able to speak your nouns and verbs or speak your questions as well. So that's going to be coming. Lots of great stuff coming, but let's get back to the main room so we can close out this video and I can show you guys how to get into closed alpha. Magic Book is a work in progress, but it has so much potential. So
So if you want to help try out this app in the early alpha state, it still costs us money because we're running language models which use a ton of compute, but we are in alpha because a lot of the features aren't here yet, gonna be having the price 75% off so that our 100 alpha testers, instead of $20 a month, you have access to Magic Book for $4.99. And yeah, this is GPT-4 level LLMs, and GPT-4 costs $20 a month. So just that in and of itself, I feel like we're giving better value, but then you can also help us to make this app better, which is, we have a lot that we're working on, but we want a lot of feedback on what we already have as well. So the first 100 people who sign up and register using the link in the description, going to magicbook.com, but through this link in particular, will get access to the alpha, and then we're gonna have it closed for a while we continue to build. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, whether you get an alpha or not, remember to hit a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can stay up to date, because we're gonna be expanding this over time, and eventually we'll be moving to closed beta and then open beta. And oh man, I'm so excited for what this app is going to enable all of you to do, turning your imaginations into reality.